Watch as a boatload of migrants are allegedly rammed by the Greek Coast Guard on their way to Europe from Turkey. In the video, a woman can be heard shouting, "Please help," in English, before the ship collides with their boat. The video appears to show a Greek vessel bearing the marking LS602 approaching the migrant boat. It then makes contact twice. First a broadside impact, then a more direct hit from the bow. Greek Cypriot media Katharmarini reports the incident occurred by the island of Samos and the dinghy was forced to return to Turkey. The move comes as Greece hardens its stance on migration after an estimated 1.28 million migrants arrived in the country since 2014. The Greek Coast Guard has not commented on the video, but human rights groups have fiercely condemned the scenes shown in this video that surfaced last week, though is believed to have been shot last summer. Aegean Boat Report, who monitors migrant crossings, accused the Greek authorities of, quote, consistently going to extreme lengths to prevent boats reaching their islands. The group say they've documented thousands of pushbacks. I reported earlier this year the government there declared an end to what they called the, quote, invasion of Europe and began locking up migrants, declaring it will no longer process any asylum applications for North Africans. The immigration minister said at the time, "What is happening right now from North Africa and Libya is not a normal migrant flow. It's an invasion of Europe. This amendment suspends the submission of asylum applications, meaning that individuals who are arrested and detained will no longer enter the international protection process. As soon as an opportunity arises, they will be returned. This serves as a deterrent, as those attempting to come now know that, even though other routes into Europe exist, in Greece, they will face detention, will not be allowed to apply for asylum, and will be returned without their asylum claim being registered. So from now on, the road for illegal immigrants is to go to jail or go back to their country." He said his country would no longer be a taxi service or a hotel, and that the government would protect the homeland. The message is clear: stay where you are not welcome here. We now have a Europe that listens to us, that understands that the model of Europe being a hotel and taxi service for those who want to come illegally must end. The Greek government, the Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis, will take all necessary measures to protect our homeland from this happening. Greece is a member of the ECHR, just as Britain is, but the country seems able to disapply asylum conventions, something unimaginable here. Stella Santikidou, who is pro-immigration, said the UK is held to a higher standard.
And obviously the Greek Prime Minister has said that, look, Italy and Albania may have been able to have a nice deal where immigrants will be processed in Albania, but that is not really a solution that can be scaled across Europe. So again, what do you do?
Well, Stella, so what the Greeks, well, they've been very clear. They've said, Thanos Plevris has said today, the Greeks, like the rest of Europe, want to help real refugees, but we will not be taken for fools. It is the end of the fairy tale. Those coming to Greece and Europe in incredible numbers are all women and children. They are mainly men, as you've confirmed, aged between 18 and 30, who are economic migrants. We are not a hotel anymore. And Stella, the plot thickens because the European Union are backing Greece on this because, of course, where you are right on the front line is a gateway into the Schengen zone. So, ironically, Brussels are clamping down on illegal immigration in Greece, in Crete, in a way that we can't even dream of back here in Britain.
I don't agree that this is not happening in Britain. That the problem is that the Prime Minister can say all sorts of things. The thing is, there isn't one authority for refugees telling people, please guys, stop trying to come to Europe to look for a better future for yourselves, that they're going to listen to. That just doesn't exist. So it is just a situation where I think this is just it's horribly unfair to try to put the blame on just one authority or one country or the people themselves who really, you may say, yes, they're not legitimate refugees, they're not, there isn't the threat of imminent death, but a lot of them are coming from extremely difficult situations. A lot of them will be under the Convention of Refugees. They will be considered refugees.
Your own immigration minister says the vast majority are from safe countries, such as Egypt, where they're trying to dodge military conscription. They're from Pakistan. They're from Bangladesh. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is that we are totally unable in Britain to deport people back to the countries. We are not allowed to put them in prison. And my point to you is Greece is, and they're in both the ECHR and the European Union.
Yeah, well, let's see whether they will be able to actually pull off with what they said they're going to do, because the thing is, what are you going to do? Are you going to have all of these people in your prisons for the next 5 years? The Greek prison system is not in any better situation than the British one. I would like to see how deportations work. I do think we need to find a way to make deportations work. But again, deportations are expensive, right? And what the Greek prime minister said is there needs to be a way where we can have the kind of legal immigration we need, because Greece as well needs legal immigrants. There are certain jobs that Greece simply needs them. But at the same time, do something about the fact that you have a lot of people who are under the illusion, perhaps, that they're going to come here and they're going to have a better future. And for a lot of them, it is probably true that they could in the long term have a better future here, but it's simply not sustainable as it is. So let's see how this is going to work in practice, because of course the Greek government can speak tough, but the reason why the British government doesn't speak in the way the Greek government speaks is because the British government is being held to a much higher standard by its media class, by its voters, by everyone. Whereas the Greek government just a bit used with making big statements and people forgetting about this or just not pulling it off.
Former UK Border Force Chief Tony Smith told GB News Greece was at a tipping point, and the country has proven that where there's a will, there's a way.
How come the Greeks can say this when they're in the EU and they're in the ECHR, and at home we simply throw open the red carpet?
Yeah, it's a good question, Martin. And I think, we are seeing a wind of change, aren't we, in Europe, not just in Greece, but in a number of European countries which are swinging violently to the right. We've had 10,000 in Crete recently just arrived. They are saying Crete is completely overwhelmed, Martin, 4,000 in the last week. What the new minister is saying is he's going to detain them all and deport them all, which is actually what I've been saying we need to do. We need to detain everybody and deport everybody to stop this. So that's what he's saying he's going to do. What worries me a little bit is he's got the infrastructure to do it. I mean, if they can keep him on the island of Crete, that's fine. I think they'll probably end up bringing him on to mainland Greece, Martin. Have they got enough detention spaces and prison spaces there? If not, I'm worried about that, because then they're in the Schengen zone. They can wander all the way up to Calais. And we heard recently, didn't we, some evidence that about a third of those that are breaching the external EU border want to come to the UK. And this is the first time we've seen a big rise. If you look at the Frontex figures, it's across that central Med route from Libya. They seem to have found a breakthrough there, the smugglers. They're on bigger boats, about 300 per boat. So I really wish him well. I hope he does manage to do this, but it does involve a lot of work, Martin. It does involve planning, building, pouring concrete, and having that legal framework that says we are going to detain you and we're going to deport you. And if you refuse to comply with that, then we're going to imprison you. Now, that is a really big policy and quite an expensive one, but one that I think they've decided now, in Greece at least, that this is something they're going to have to do. Otherwise, you're going to continue to see scenes like that, and potentially there's never going to be an end to it.
All right, Tony, in simple terms, if the Greeks can do it, why can't we?
Well, we've spoken before about this, Martin. Our legal framework is broken, ECHR, asylum, all the rest of it. Once people arrive in Dover, then we are pretty well powerless to do anything. They'll be into the asylum system, human rights system, and we know hardly any are being sent back. We could do it, but it does need a really, really bold leadership in this government to say we're going to start pouring concrete now. We're going to build detention centres and more prisons. We're going to detain people and deport people.
Greece has battled high levels of illegal immigration since the 2015 wave encouraged by German Chancellor at the time, Angela Merkel. It became a key entry point for migrants on their way to Western Europe, but many were forced to stay in the country, placing a heavy burden on Greece while its economy lied in tatters following its sovereign debt crisis and subsequent bailouts. In the 10 years since the Great Migration began, Greece has seen more than 1.3 million illegal migrants enter, a heavy burden for a country of just 11 million people. There are 224,000 recognised refugees and asylum seekers currently in the country, but the real number could be much higher. A migrant seeking to travel onward from the country will not register there, as doing so will mean they'll be barred from claiming asylum in any other EU country. Tourism is a key Greek industry that kept the country afloat during the crisis, which itself has come under threat as reports of boats of men washing up on tourist-filled beaches became more and more common. Back in the UK, Keir Starmer is struggling to meet his promise to smash the gangs and stop boats full of illegal migrants.